All right, moving forward into the next phase of our afternoon, we are going to hear from Susanna Nordahl. She's with the Montana State Fund, and she's here to give us some updates on what's going on with workers' compensation. So Susanna, we welcome you to the stage.
Good afternoon, ladies. Gosh, I am so grateful to be here among over 200 strong, smart women leaders. Many of you manage teams at work and at home, and you sure are shaping the future of this state. With all of the hats that we wear as leaders, some tasks come second nature, and others stay out of sight until they can't. And workers' compensation insurance might fall into that second category. It's kind of like the smoke detector that starts chirping at 2 a.m. and you don't really think about it until you hear that chirping. Today, I want to give you something practical, a quick, high-level understanding of the current work comp environment. I want to share some recent changes in Montana law that will benefit Montana employers and injured workers. And I want to review just a handful of nuts and bolts insights that can help you be confident your business and employees are protected. So, by now, either on a personal or professional level, you have likely experienced what the insurance market has been doing the last several years. Many lines of insurance have seen rate increases, but with workers' compensation insurance, it is quite the opposite. In recent years, claim rates have decreased and medical inflation has been lower than anticipated, allowing overall rates to fall. I know that sounds like a typo, but I promise it's real. While every carrier's rates vary slightly, our rates at Montana State Fund are the lowest that they have been in our 36 years of existence. Not only are our rates down 65% since 2006, 46% of that has occurred in just the last decade. Lower rates are a result of both a focus on workplace safety and general market trends. As a steward of the system, our own efforts have contributed to overall reduced claim frequency, enhancing workplace safety through consultation, intervention, and initiatives. We have a long-term commitment to rate stability and financial strength so that we can be here to care for Montana employers and their workers. As part of our ongoing efforts, we pay close attention to the Montana legislature. The workers' compensation system is ever evolving, and we at MSF are always looking for ways to make the system work better for employees and employers. So I want to review just a few of the bills that we focused on from the 25 legislative session. The first one was House Bill 197. It was a focus on return to work. It came about due to a previous court ruling that required an insurer to obtain a formal job analysis prior to an injured worker being allowed to return to work. This created delays in getting employees back to work, created unnecessary claim costs, it harmed employers, and disregarded the expertise of the treating physician who had already certified that that worker could return to work. The solution this bill created eliminated the job analysis requirement for cases where the doctor had released that employee back to full duty. It retained the job analysis requirement where, in cases where there were work restrictions present. The second one was House Bill 143. This allowed a physician assistant to take on role as designated treating provider. Injured workers face practical challenges accessing treating physicians in Montana. Leading PAs serve as primary care providers for many injured workers, but historically, PAs weren't always authorized as treating physicians who could make important decisions to return that employee back to work and move the claim forward. It created delays with access to medical treatment and return to work decisions, which can ultimately lead to higher insurance costs for employers. House Bill 143 created a solution to define treating physician to include PAs, regardless of the location of other providers in the area, Doing so empowers the claimants to receive timely and qualified medical treatment necessary to assist their healing and return to work. Lastly, Senate Bill 338 was our guardian ad litem bill. Previously, there were legal barriers that delayed benefit payments to minors or others unable to make decisions for themselves without a guardian or conservator. And the solution under SB 338 allows for the work comp court to appoint a benefits custodian to pursue and receive benefits on that person's behalf. This is typically a faster process as opposed to waiting for a guardian or conservator to be appointed in some other way. It doesn't substitute for such, but it allows for payments of benefits in their absence. And this was a solution that all system stakeholders agreed upon. Now, switching gears to just review a few of the nuts and bolts about Montana work comp that are good to know as business leaders. If you have employees working for your Montana-based organization, you need work comp. This necessity protects your company, but also takes care of your valuable employees. Do you have remote employees working from home? You still need work comp. What about when you get that call from your employee out of their new home office in Boise, Idaho? Because I feel like that can happen this day and age. Well, they still need to be covered, but you'll need to obtain a work comp policy under the jurisdiction of that state. And you can easily do that by contacting your carrier or your insurance agent. Now, what about you? If you're an owner of your business, do you need coverage? Well, in Montana, if you're a corporate officer or a manager of a manager-managed LLC and have ownership of 10% or more, you're automatically excluded under the Work Comp Act, but you can elect this coverage if it's desired. Your employees, on the other hand, are automatically covered, and their benefits are outlined in statute. We often get questions about whether or not an injury should be reported if the employee doesn't seek medical treatment. My answer is yes, still file the claim. There are many times when something can happen, the employee doesn't initially need medical treatment, they try to fight through it, and then maybe a week later they decide to get treatment. If the claim is filed timely, it allows the claim examiner to get all the information while it's fresh in everybody's minds. It's kind of like leftovers, like it's really good the first or second day, but after a week of sitting in the back of the fridge, you're not even sure what it is. So yes, better to just report it right away. Now, do you have volunteers? That's a tricky area. Volunteers are not covered unless they fall into very specific categories. If you do want your volunteers covered, reach out to your insurance agent and or carrier to discuss the specifics, because not all carriers offer a volunteer coverage endorsement. Another important area for business owners to understand is the use of independent contractors and subcontractors. When a task falls outside of your wheelhouse, it's often easier to hire someone who specializes in that work. In those cases, it's essential to request documentation of their independent contractor exemption certificate or proof of work comp insurance. If a subcontractor without coverage is injured, or if an independent contractor brings on workers but doesn't meet coverage requirements, and one of those workers is injured, your business could be held liable even if they aren't your employee. An uninsured subcontractor discovered during audit can also impact your work comp premiums, and nobody wants these surprises, so checking coverages or exemptions before hiring is always the safer route. Now, good thing I was only given 10 minutes to talk about work comp, because after 14 years in the industry, it might be all I can talk about, except for maybe my 3 kids. And I like being invited back to events, so I'm gonna stop there. There are, however, plenty of other topics that are helpful for business owners to know, such as the importance of workplace safety, a return to work program, and understanding your insurance premiums. If you're curious about any of those, feel free to reach out to me personally or another trusted insurance professional. We also have a very helpful website for all things work comp. It's simple, it's montanastatefund.com. I hope you found this information helpful, whether serving as a good reminder or maybe teaching you something new. Again, please, I'll be around the rest of today and tomorrow, so feel free to catch up and ask me any questions that you have. And feel free to blame me if you find yourself talking about work comp at a dinner party. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Susanna. I know you're never as grateful for your workman's comp insurance until you actually need it. And we're in the marketing and advertising business, so I just have to comment. I don't know if you remember those ads the Montana State Fund had a few years ago about don't show up to work naked. Naked being without your safety gear and all that. I thought that was so clever and important, because safety can mean a lot of different things depending on what industry you're in.